Okay. In the previous session, we saw the Git basic introduction, like how the Git works, basically the Git workflow, starting from the master branch and how you create a branch and how the code is merged again back to your main branch. And what are the different activities that people do. So multiple people can collaborate within the team and then they can work on different branches and without the need to maintain any other extra file or file names. You can just do a git pull of your repository or git clone of your repository and then do a git pull. Then you start working on your local branch. So here two things are very important that you should always understand. One is local, that is your local machine. Another one is remote, that is your GitLab repository or GitHub repository. Unless you push some changes from your local to the remote, it will never be available in your remote. Okay. And unless you do a pull from your remote repository, it will never be available or updated locally. So two things that you should always understand. It is very much similar to YouTube or any MP3 file that you want to listen, right? Unless you click on a play button, you will not be able to view the video or listen to the song. Similarly, unless you download the file, you cannot really get it on your system. So something like git clone and git pull. So unless you upload your video to YouTube, it will never be available in your YouTube channel. So anything that you want to be available in your remote, you should do a push. Anything that you want to be available on your local, you should do a git clone and git pull. Okay, clear? Okay. Moving
Yes, Shankar.
Sure. Moving on, we talked about two kind of authentication. One is SSH, another one is HTTPS. So HTTPS uses password-based authentication, username and password required. Whereas for SSH, there is only private key and public key is required. Public key is like username, private key is like a password. And this is a passwordless authentication so that it makes sure you connect to the remote machine or your GitLab server without the need to type the password. So it allows you to automate your workflow or your daily routine work. That is one of the important reasons for using key-based authentication. Any doubts on this particular topic, please raise your hands straight away because this is the most fundamental thing for a DevOps. How does it work? What is a private key? What is a public key? Which key is copied to the remote machine? That is a public key. Private key is kept at the local machine. What is a location? So all of these things, you must be very much familiar with these things. Okay, any doubts?
No, Shankar.
Okay, cool. So we talked about a .sss folder, which is a hidden folder for all the softwares. Similarly, .aws for AWS CLI, dot git for Git repositories. Like that, all the software files, programs are created and configurations are created under the hidden folder. We also saw about how the SS client authentication works. You have the local private key, remote public key that you either copied manually or it is copied through some other system. For example, in EC2 instance, when you create the private key on the console, automatically the public key is copied to the remote machine. So when you download the private key to your local machine, the public key is automatically copied to the remote machine, which is nothing but your username, that is home directory tilt slash dot ssh and authorized keys file. So authorized keys file is the one which allows you to log into the remote machine if you're using a private key. So private key is downloaded to your local machine on the downloads folder when you click on download. private key. So it sends a particular connection. It sends a hello, and then it replies back with encrypted message, and it decrypts a message and then sends it back to the public key, and the authentication is successful only when public key is able to read the encrypted message. This is how the session is created. So we also spoke about port number 443, port number 80, port number 22, which is a very fundamental thing for, again, for the DevOps engineer. You have to understand what is protocol, what is port number, what is the IPv4 address. So these three combinations are available or important to create a security group. That is nothing but a virtual firewall. So you understand what is firewall, right? Firewall is a rule which is created inside your Linux operating system or inside your Windows machine to allow or deny traffic uh, for a particular set of IP addresses, a particular set of protocols, and particular set of customers. That contains a combination of your protocol, port number, and your IP address range. Any doubts anybody has?
So the machines either Windows or the Linux, right?
Yeah, any machine, by
Any machine.
default, you will have a firewall
So
setup.
even for the private and public keys also, like SSH.
See, SSH, unless you allow port number 22 to be accessed, right, in your ingress route, that is incoming traffic. If you don't allow this port number 22 from a particular IP address or the range of IP addresses, you will not be able to log into the machine.
Oh, so I'm asking about the keys,
What do you mean by
public
keys,
keys.
sir?
So before we started this firewall, so about the we discussed about the keys, right? Private keys and public key to connect to servers.
Say, for example, in order to make it clear, private key and public key are like your username and password. So it is nothing to do with your protocol. It is nothing to do with your port number. It is just a mechanism of logging into a remote machine. That's a different way of authentication. That's all. That is completely a different topic altogether. You don't need to get confused with this one.
Okay, okay,
Clear? Okay.
yes,
Sure. So we are talking about a particular process which is running on the remote machine. For SSH to be SS authentication to be successful, for sure in your remote machine, there must be port number 22 running, SSHD service must be running, and you should have a SSH client on your local machine. So, like I told you before, it is always a server client mechanism. So you'll have a client using which you will connect to the remote machine. That machine is like your server. So here some service must be running. Here you should have some client. For example, if you're browsing some websites through your browser, Chrome browser, that means that is a HTTP client. The server that you are trying to access is your HTTP server. So this will be your Chrome client. This will be your Amazon server. So anywhere you will have a client which will be understanding the service protocol. So in order to connect using to a remote machine, you will be using SSH client, whereas the server will understand that protocol. That's why you're able to log into the remote machine. Similarly, HTTP page, when you're accessing, you could have noticed that the page is always having HTTPS in the prefix. That means it is trying to use HTTP protocol securely to connect to the remote server that can understand HTTP protocol. Any doubts? Okay. Now we'll be looking at all basic commands of Git, because I mean we are talking about Git as a repository, Git as a server, how to manage code repository. So git init is to initialize a new repository in your working folder. Git clone is to just copy or download your repository from your remote to the local. So this will basically download all the information to your local machine from the remote. So here we have something called local, something called remote, that you should always understand. Okay. Local means it is only in your local. Unless you push it, it is just local. Once you push it, it becomes remote. It is available in remote. It has not become remote. It is available in remote. So the process of pushing your commits, it requires minimum 3 stages. Git add to stage your file, and then git commit is to save your commit to the local, and then git push is to push the changes to the remote. Git status and git def will show you the list of files which are modified. Git def will show you the difference between the previous commit and the new commit. Using git reset, you can actually go back to your old commit. It is something similar to your control Z, which is nothing but undo. Git pull, like I said, every time you work on a particular repository, you have to do a git pull to pull all your latest changes and update your repository so that you can work on the greatest and latest instead of having some other commit issues later. Git checkout is to move between different branches or create a new branch. For example, you are working on branch 1 or you are in main 1, you are in main, you want to go to branch 1, you can do a git checkout the branch name. Whereas git checkout minus B option is to create a new branch. That is nothing but -B is branch. Create a branch, it means. Using git branch also, you can check out a new, create a new branch, or you can also list the branches available. The most important command is git branch -A to create a new branch. Sorry, show all the branches available. Git branch -D is to delete the local branch, and then you can do a push so that you can you can delete the remote branch as well. Git merge is all about working with multiple teams, working with different branches, and pushing your changes, merging your changes to the main or master to have main or master up to date, the latest and greatest. So this word is very important. So you understand, the latest and greatest is a word which is used mainly in the organizations. That's, they say that this is one of the branch in which all the latest and greatest code is available. That is always main. Any doubts so far? Hope you're able to focus on whatever I'm teaching, and it is interesting.
Yes, Shankar.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah, sure.
when you do a git diff, it will show you whatever files, whatever content is added, it will show plus and green. Whatever content is removed, it will show in minus and then red color. So git status will show you if the file is a new one, it will say untracked files. If the file is modified, it will say modified. If the file is deleted, it will say the file is deleted. So like that, I mean, you get to know exactly what information is being changed, what information is being pushed. And moreover, like I told you before, DevOps engineer always does things on the CLI. So there are multiple ways to even do all these things from console. That means your browser, every tool has its console option, but I would say always go ahead with all the command line options, use SSS key based authentication, and be comfortable with the CLI process. Okay, everybody agrees? Don't agree? You guys agree or no? Guys,
Yes, Shankar. We
okay,
agree.
okay. I see a huge silence. Okay,
No, not like that. I'm just listening to what you're saying.
Okay. So the way to log into the remote machine, this you are already aware that you need a private key with a dash I option, and then the username in which using which you're logging in and your IP address. Okay. So here it comes. How does your server looks like? How is your local repository? So you do a git clone and then you do a git pull to update your local working copy. Once it is ready, you do a commit and then you do a push. Similarly, on workstation 1, probably because it's working. On workstation 2, probably Kushal is doing. On workstation 3, Anudeep or Srini is doing. So like that, we people start working on different things, whereas the server is only one uh, at one place. You may be having different repository or different branches that you're working on. So you don't need to worry about how to maintain the particular source code. So Git itself manages the source code and you just need to follow the procedure that you have to do a Git pull always to make sure the latest and greatest is available to you. Then you start pushing your changes. Okay. So if you look at this one, you can clearly understand. There are three areas in your local also, staging and local. In your remote, it is remote. So overall, there are only three stages. Your working directory can also be considered as one stage, but it is nothing but your working uh, place or your working location or directory. The staging area 7 is the place where it comes after your git add commands. You can choose which file you want to add out of your 10 files. Out of your n number of files, you can choose n or n minus 1. So you can choose only two files to be added. Rest of the two files can be added in the next commit also. So you can do a git add to file name F1, F2, and then you can do a git commit so that the information is saved in your local repository until you do a git push. So once you do a git push, it is available or it is saved in your remote repository. It gets updated, and whoever is doing a git pull, they'll get the latest change. So this is your local repository. From here, you do a git checkout to create a new branch out of your current working branch. That's how your Git repository architecture looks like. So this is how you normally do it. Initialize your repositories in Git init and then add files to the staging area and then do a git commit and then git push. Git fetch will actually fetch only information up to the remote tracking reference, remote area only. Yeah, up to your um, configuration level, not up to the local working directory, local working tree. For update your code to your local working tree, you should do a git pull always. So you can also do a git merge or git rebase. That is again little bit advanced concepts where you'll be working on multiple branches. When you are doing a merge, you probably have some problem because it is probably diverged from the current version. So that time you may have to do a rebase. Okay, any questions?
No, Shankar.
Sure. So I tried explaining small commands also here. A commit is a snapshot of your code at a specific point in time. So each commit has a commit ID. That is very important. Each commit ID is a one which gives reference to your commit and it uniquely identifies your commit. Anytime the commit ID is not overwritten by other commit. Commit message may be same for different commits. That is up to you to either give it very short or give it long or keep it very unique also. Git branch is just another separate line of development. So what it means is you have XYZ code. If you create a new branch, the XYZ code will be available for you in the new branch. It is up to you to add ABC to the new branch. Then it becomes XYZ plus ABC. Then you do a merge to the main. It becomes, your main becomes XYZ ABC. Okay, clear? Okay. Remote repository is just available over the internet that can be used by other people at any point in time as long as they have the credentials to log into the remote. So Git clone creates a copy of an existing repository on a local machine. Basically, it downloads all the repository information to your local machine. Git init, it initializes a new repository. Git status will show you the changes that has been done on your local system, local repository. Git add stages your commit. Git commit creates a commit message, creates a commit ID. How do I see all the commits in my local repository? Anyone?
Git Git status.
No. Any other try?
Git Git diff.
Git diff will show you the difference between your last commit and current commit. Git log.
Git log. Yeah.
Git log will show you all the commits in as a history. It is something like your history of commits. So just remember this. Git log is one of the important command to see all the commits with the separate commit message and commit ID. For example, I'll show you my screen, my terminal quickly. If I go to, say, code cloud VPC EC2, if I do a git log, I'll see what commits I made when I made. So it shows that it has a unique commit ID, and then it has a commit message, and then it shows who is the author. So this one comes from your git config dash dash global dash dash list. So from there only it finds out what is the author, who is the author, what is the author name, what is the email ID. So if you see git config hyphen global hyphen list, you will see the same information. Hope it is clear to you now. So author is always important because you cannot leave the author empty. You will never understand who is the one who made the changes. Especially in the organization, this cannot be left empty. In your local machine, you can leave it as empty. But for all your commits, you are supposed to be logged in, or automatically there is a author name created based on your AD credentials. AD means Active Directory. Every user will have separate Active Directory user created within your organization to uniquely identify each person. Okay, clear? Any other doubts? So Git branch is used for listing the branches, creating a new branch, deleting a branch. So Git branch, a new branch will create a new branch. Similarly, you can use also Git checkout with a dash p option also to create a new branch. So Git checkout can be used to move to another branch. It is something similar to CD. CD and then do a folder name and to move to a different folder, right? Similarly, you can do a Git checkout to move to a different branch. Git merge actually merges your changes from your local to the remote. Uh, so you are supposed to do a git merge. Which branch you want to merge your current branch. So git pull fetches changes from the remote repository and merges them to the current branch. Okay. So git pull, it actually fetches and merges with the current local branch. So git pull origin main, or simply do a git pull. It will go to the origin and then find out which is the current branch that is being used. So this command, if I simply do a git pull, what happens is, I'll show you in my, if I do a dot git slash config, whatever I have origin, that that is the URL, and then the default branch, whatever is used here, that branch will be referred. That is why we usually don't do a git pull origin main and all. So it will be just a git pull. So git push pushes your changes to the remote repository. The command is git push origin main, or if you're doing it for the first time, you have to say -u. That is nothing but you're setting the upstream to origin main. So sample commands are given here. How to do a git clone, your complete repository URL. What is this? Is it a HTTPS URL or a SSH URL? Srini?
HTTPS only.
Yeah, it is HTTPS URL. So when you do a git push, it will prompt you for a password, username and password. If it is a SH URL, it will be git@github.com.
Yeah, Git.
Colon, yeah, git@github.com. Okay. Uh, git add dot git commit. What is a so many people tend to forget -m, which is very important. Without that, you cannot really push a commit. You cannot save a commit. -m is just a message, and then it is followed by a string, uh, few statements.
So if you don't use it, IPNM, it will open some variator, right, automatically.
Yeah, basically it opens a prompt where you have to put your commit message so that it can be saved. To avoid that, we put -m option so that
Yeah.
we can I mean without any interaction we can push our code. Okay.
Okay.
Like I shared with you, all the documents are available in this particular folder, in this particular section, DevOps Docs March. If you go to General, if you go to Git GitLab, you will have most of the documents available here. In other places also it is available, but this is more than enough for you to just get hold of whatever I've been teaching you, whatever I have taught you so far. So Git detailed doc, PPT, anything you can just open and then read about it. Branch merging, branch switching. So this you have to really understand. Crafting clear and concise commit message is crucial because it allows people to understand what you are trying to do, what you have done. This message describes the changes made in each commit, helping you and your team to understand what exactly you are trying to do. Evolution, basically, what is your progress over a period of time? Okay. The commit history is also important. That you receive it, that you get it from git log command. So commit best practices, writing meaningful messages so that I mean the other person can easily understand what changes you have done. So making it more concise and more meaningful. So resolve conflicts usually is very important because when you do merge, see, there may be three different lines you have in the main. But after creating a new branch, probably you have only two lines, you have removed one line. And because probably you feel like something you want to change in the third line, you change something in the third line, it will definitely create a conflict when you do a when you do a merge to the remote branch. So there are different ways you can do it. Anyways, merge conflict, resolving the merge conflict and all, it is a slow process, a time-taking process, and it is vary from company to company and person to person. We'll try to see some examples, but it is not guaranteed that you will be able to do everything to the extent, but you can understand to some extent. Like I told you before, it allows you to do a collaborative coding. You can also do a code review using some different third-party tools that can be integrated to your like Gerrit. There are different tools available. One of the option is Gerrit. That is for doing a code review. So cloning the repository, branching the repositories, committing the changes, and collaboration. That is a way it helps the team. Okay. The slideshow ends. I'll probably stop the recording here.